Hello and welcome to the third video of how to play Civilization 6, and this video will be all about amenities and loyalty. And I've chosen these two subjects together because they look a lot like each other, but they're really quite different. I've loaded a different game to properly explain this. Amenities, to begin with, are things that your citizens can do to relax. So, for example, go to the Colosseum right here, which gives you extra amenities. Or see, well, let's see. For example, go to the arena or go to the zoo, things to do. And the more amenities you have, the better. Basically, you don't need to have a gigantic surplus, but what is important that if you have an amenity issue, like I have right now in my capital city, Sterling, it means production, science, culture, gold and faith will be decreased because people feel less motivated. That's the idea. And you can easily solve this by making sure you have the civic for the entertainment complex, which is pretty early on. I'll show you right now. Already here, see, so it's like no, it's really early on. And you can build entertainment complex, or later on, if that is more practical, water park if you have a city on water. It doesn't necessarily need to be on water. I mean, I've got enough tiles here within the city borders to build a water park as well, but you get the idea. And once the amenities have been equalized to 0 or above, the production values, the yields from your city will go up. And this is different in terms of housing, because housing only limits growth and not the actual yields. Whereas amenities also limit growth. That's just it's not a hard requirement to have proper growth, but there's definitely a difference between city growth with cities who have many issues and those who don't. And the best way to see that is just to see it as you play it. So that's something you'll have to experience for yourself. Now, how do the amenities differ from loyalty? And that's a very important question. Loyalty concerns which city serves which leader, and amenity is do our citizens have something to enjoy themselves with? Quite often, you'll see cities that have loyalty issues, and that will change loyalty, but turn to a free city first. And there's let's see if there's an example on the map right now. You see a lot of religion dominance going on and changing of that. Let's see. It appears that pretty much every city that I have on the map right now has proper loyalty. But earlier in this particular game, Teotihuacan, the original capital of... Am I saying that right? Original capital? Yeah, I think so. Of the Aztecs was under loyalty issues. So if we press the icon here, we can actually see loyalty, like with the lens here. And we can see, okay, it has 100 loyalty out of 100. It gains plus 1 loyalty per turn from Saudi Arabia. There's some other effects causing 2 loyalty loss per turn, and that is because it is a former capital. There's amenity issues, which lowers loyalty as well, as you can see. There's a governor in there, which ups the loyalty per turn by 8. And there's one loyalty, not one loyalty per city, there's citizens loyalty equal to 20 from pressure from around the city. So that's something to keep in mind. Citizens from your other cities or other civilization cities will influence the loyalty pressure onto your cities. this is one of the main features of Rise and Fall, as it limits the AI and yourself to growing near your already invested cities. It's still possible to go to other continents and stuff like that, but it's more of a challenge because you have to build a government plaza to increase loyalty, get a governor in there, stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of different governors, and as you progress through the game and get more civics, you can assign or promote governors, and each and every one of them has specific stuff that they are good at. Magnus is good for production values and building settlers. Amani is actually one that's very good for exerting loyalty pressure. As our first two upgrades are that other cities that are not owned by you and cities that are owned by you, within 9 tiles, each gain +2 loyalty per turn towards your civilization. So if you ever want to try and flip a city for loyalty, Amani is the one you need. The Surveyor has a lot of different stuff, but is very good for entertainment complex and amenities issues to solve. The Castellan is mostly for military types of stuff. The Educator is on culture and campus buildings. The Cardinal is really basically just for religious stuff. I barely use him, to be honest. And there's Reina the Financier, which has an overpowered ability that if you have a lot of gold and you have her promotions cut out, you can buy districts with gold. And I've actually tried that once. It is very overpowered. Now, districts will not increase your loyalty per se, but what will increase your loyalty are certain buildings. Let's go and have to look at that right now. So a monument will increase loyalty, as it states in the tooltip. There's a lot of different buildings, but whenever you capture a city or you found a new city and you have loyalty issues, make sure to prioritize that monument. Even if you capture a city and there's already a monument there, there's a very large chance that you'll have to repair it, because conquering a city damages it. It basically damages everything in the city. And if you repair it, the loyalty it yields, the loyalty yield that it has, will be in your favor, because you, at that point, own the city. And that's really something that you need to keep an eye on. I mean, the monument is not a very great building when you're mid to late game, but if you're having loyalty issues, it is very worthwhile. It only take a few turns, if it even takes that much, and it has you +1 loyalty per turn, which can make quite a difference when you're settling further away from your main city hubs like this, or even entire other continents. And that's something that that can actually be exploited. Like I said, if you concentrate all your loyalty stuff into one city, you can actually flip another city to your civilization. There's actually entire achievements for flipping ally cities to your civilization and just keeping them. Loyalty and amenities do require a bit of practice. It's not too hard to get to get a control of, but if you haven't done it before, don't worry about if your cities have a lot of amenity issues. It's not like it's going to break the game or really bog you down, but if you're like me and you want to keep the process of ever growing cities going the entire time, that is something to watch out for. If you notice your production is a bit low, you can say, okay, do I have amenity issues? Yes, okay, let's solve them so I can get more production. And there's all kind of stuff like that. The best thing I can recommend is to just try the game, play it, see what happens, and experiment with it. Some people are better at it than others, although it's really not hard. It's just that it happens a lot because the quicker your city grows, the more amenities it'll need within a shorter amount of time. So if you have a city that, for example, has, let's say you would have 4 of these wheat tiles within the first 6 around the city. It happened to me just once, so and you improve those tiles, so you have 4 citizens working it, your city will grow quick, like really, really fast, and that'll require you to build amenities at a quicker rate because your city will grow a lot quicker in the beginning. So that's something to watch out for. I mean, if there's just a lot of hill tiles around and not so much food, you're gonna need that less because your city growth won't be as high as when you have multiple of these wheat tiles. So that's something that it all depends per location, and like I said, there's all kinds of requirements that you could set to your city. But just look for production food. Try to find a balance, and if you find an overpowered spot, you'll know that you might need more amenities, or you might need to build more farms using builders. So that's something that's quite. I think it's great that it plays this kind of a role, but I can sometimes really get annoyed by the fact that my city has another amenity issue. It happens. And I play. I think I have over 500 or 600 hours. If I in Civilization games, if I count in Civilization Revolution from the Xbox 360 as well, it's probably almost 1,000 hours. But it happens. Amenities were not a thing back then, but it's something to keep an eye on. There's also entire bonuses for having your city happy and ecstatic and stuff like that. So you have to keep an eye on housing, you have to keep an eye on amenities, check the loyalty. But the great thing is, if you do ever lose loyalty, even if it is just once, even if it is just one loyalty for one turn, you get a notification on the right side of the screen, and it'll tell you what to do. That's a really, really great thing. Okay, so here's the last thing we're going to talk about. That is important. It is another part of the Rise and Fall expansion, but in the bottom right you have your turn clicker, where you can click to end your turn. There's also a counter, and this states the amount of points initially you'll need to not have a Dark Age in the next era of the game, but a normal age. And if you manage to complete the points that are listed there as well, because it will automatically keep going, you will get a Golden Age. And that will give you extra loyalty, extra bonuses, dedications you can make. And if you ever get into a Golden Age from a normal age, you get to pick one dedication. But if you're in a Dark Age and you manage to climb up to a Golden Age, you get what we call an Heroic Age, because you climbed up from Dark to Gold. And that is actually really useful, because you can have 3 dedications. And that gives you a lot of extra bonuses, really propelling your civilization forward. But that's something you would just have to say, and the dedications you pick just depend on the kind of victory you want to go for, or the kind of game you want to play. So that's something I'll leave for yourselves to find out. I'm hoping this video has been a bit clarifying on the issue of amenities and loyalties, and I want to thank you for watching. I hope they've been useful, and if not, and if you have any questions, please do let me know in both cases. And I hope you'll have a good one today.